Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my brand new YouTube channel. I am Sharon Ings, and my Facebook page is Art Ings Creations. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm not saying hello to you in person this morning because my hubby, who designed my YouTube page for me, decided that he had to have a video so that we could get it published and uploaded, and I wasn't ready, so you're not about to see my messy hair today. So I thought I would jump on quickly. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Ontario, Canada, and I have just fallen in love with these brand new blending brushes that Stampin' Up! Put out in our new mini catalog. They're on page 70 if you happen to have the catalog and you want to have a look at them. So I thought today I would show you the difference between the new blending brushes and how it looks when you are actually using a sponge, which I've always used in the past. So let me bring in my messy paper that I've been working on, and I just want to show you quickly the different look that you get with the blending brushes. Now, the blending brushes are not a sponge. They're thousands and thousands of tiny, tiny hairs. I find that they wash beautifully. You can see a little bit of color left here from the last time that I used them, but that isn't an issue. I'll show you how we actually use them as we go along. So just to show you the difference between sponging, I'm going to sponge a little bit in, I have some Granny Apple Green here. So I'm going to get some on my sponge, and as always, we always kind of start off, and let's just do the corner in the sponge. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my new blending brush, and I find you have a lot more control if you keep your finger on the top piece of it, and then again start off the edge, and just in a circular motion you're going to do the corner. So now, not sure if you can see the difference, but if you'll notice, I'll bring it up a little bit closer and hopefully that'll help. There's actually more of a different texture in the sponge, and this is much softer and much more blended and gentle. You can get a darker look by doing it again over and over and getting it darker, but I kind of like that soft blended background. Now, if you want to move on to a darker color, always start with your lighter colors. But say you want to do more than one, in the sample that we're going to do in a minute, we'll have more than one. You can basically clean off the rest of your ink that's on there, and then you can move on to your next color and carry on from there. So let's actually do that. Let me bring in another piece of paper, an actual card front, and we will start with the green because that's what we're working with. So let's just do a couple of spots in the green. And maybe one over here. So again, clean that brush off. Now what you can do is there's 3 in a package, so you can actually label each one and just use it for, if you want to use one for greens, one for blues, one's for pinks, however you want to do it. But I find that I like to wash mine out in between, and then I can use them for whatever color I want. Now the only thing to remember if you do wash them out in between is that they do get wet, and when they're wet, I thought I had one here. I was going to show you what it looks like when it's wet, but I guess I don't. They will change, and they take quite a while to dry. So if you're going to be continuing making cards, you're not going to want to wash them. But when you're done for the day, wash it and set it aside to dry, and it comes back almost brand new. Sometimes I even use a little bit of dish soap on them. So then let's go to our next lightest color. In this case, I'm using Highland Heather. And then just right over top, because you've cleaned that brush, it won't get any of the ink on your actual ink pad. You may not see a huge amount on here, but when you go in to put your color on, it is there. It looks like I've got one little spot there that I'm not happy with, but we will just go over and over that. Probably there was something on my ink pad that shouldn't be there. I am putting a fair amount of pressure on that finger just to get the color a little bit darker. And now let's try Pacific Point. This is our darkest color, so maybe I'll actually skip over that and do our Rococo Rose first. So again, we'll clean off our brush, go in a circular motion on your stamp pad, and then just on your paper. Filling in some spaces at this point. I can either do this or rub. It just doesn't matter. I find to get a bit more ink on if I do this, the stamping motion. Whoops, there I should now see, there you go. We all don't do things perfectly, and there's where I should have started off of my paper before doing that. Okay, so let's clean that off and do, as I said, this is a much brighter color. So again, you're going to want to make sure you start off your paper and then just fill in the spots that we have left here. Okay, that one's quite dark. So I could have rubbed that one off even a little bit more. So you can either go in and darken your other ones, or you can leave that if you like the look. I'm in love with it because it looks to me like a watercolor when it's done. And that's what appeals to me most. So let me just show you. I want to show you the difference between the two, and then I'll finish one little card that I started. So here's a background that I did trying to do. It's sort of like the Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights. And then this is a card that I finished with sponging. So you can actually see lines where I sponged. And I wanted that look on this particular card, so that's fine. But this one, the background is more like a watercolor, and that's what I was aiming for. So just to give you an idea, now I probably might not be able to do what I want to do with this one, because let's try the pearl. I want to get all the blue off. This is a very dark one. So again, I probably wouldn't do this. Let me try my other one. I got this one. We'll use this one instead. Let's do the Rococo Rose, because I do have pink in this background. And I just want to sponge the edges of this. And what I like about this is, let me just make sure I'm in my thing here. You actually can stamp over top of this because it gives you such a nice light background that you could stamp your sentiment. I'm not going to do that today, but you can stamp your sentiment on over top, and you've got, instead of a solid white background, I actually could have done the edges of this as well. I didn't, but I would next time. And then just mount that on there, and it's got a simple card, but with a beautiful, beautiful background. Anyways, I hope you enjoy them. If you're interested, you can go to my Artings Creations Facebook page